All right, guys, this is where we're at right now. Dan came by, took a look at it. He's okay with that. We're gonna leave it. We're not gonna go ahead and cut it to 20. That little ridge right there where it didn't clean. We've got that one and this one. That one's quite a bit smaller. We're gonna ride with it rather than take the extra meat out of the bones. Might as well leave it. It'll be fine. This thing was 13 thousandths out. It was running 10,000 smaller pistons, and it was, they'll be fine. It'll be, if we were trying to squeeze all the power out of the engine that we could, then fine. But that one, cost versus benefit really isn't there. And by cost, we mean like long-term cost. Look, everything's clean. This thing is shining. Like we cleaned it all up. We cleaned all the bores out. But we do need to change how we clean. I'm gonna go ahead and spray cabinet and hope this paint's good enough. We didn't do it on this one, obviously. I'm almost done final cleaning. Almost done, but it'll be ready to put the crank in. That's 10 thousandths right there. That's what 10 over does. This thing, it was cleaned out. I'll leave it open and let it dry. I sanded the crankshaft today. I think it looks good. It feels good. We got these little burrs on it. Look at these sideways burrs. Guaranteed they were there from the beginning of the crank. Yeah, that'll be all right though. But I did sand on it. See how good that looks too. It's nice to touch off on that. Even though a wear ring goes on it, it's nice to have clean surfaces for the wear rings to go in the front and the back. Not gonna do anything to the camshaft. It's got one line on a journal, on a lobe. Somewhere in there, can't remember where. It's not bad though, it'll be all right. We got the valve job all the way done. We're lapping them in now. They're pretty much almost done. They're almost ready to take down. I'm gonna go through and do one more once over on them all. Yeah. Generally, they go up here into the board when they're done. When they're done, they go up here. That way, this board, this side over here is supposed to resemble the exhaust manifold side. So you put them upside down and all the valves go in how they are. Those two go right there, so on and so forth. That way, when we're done with valves and the valve job's done, this valve is married to this seat. So I want to be able to take them out, service them, move them around, clean them, get them ready for final assembly without having to worry about keeping these valves straight. Because once we lap them, they're married to that side. So, crankshaft, camshaft, we're about out of parts. Oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. Look at these little bastards sitting over here. Yeah, that'll be for another moment. We got the old pistons clean. Now, almost everything actually is clean except the camshaft. It's the only part left. And final clean the crank. Actually clean the crank. It still has oil all over it. All I did was sand it. So the only thing that hasn't been touched at all is the cam. So I haven't even measured the rod bushings yet. I'm not even gonna jump on that. Not yet. My plan is to go ahead and get the crankshaft in, bed plate torqued, front rear covers on, basic crankshaft and camshaft in the engine block, and all the T-joints sealed up. That'll be a nice stopping point that will get the camshaft, the crankshaft, all that stuff off the table. Everything can go away. The bed plate can get off the table over there and go where it's supposed to be, which is on top of the engine. And, we can get parts where they're gonna be, where they're gonna be. And then that gives us more room to spread the connecting rods out here and the basic go-to rod bushing. Maybe, there's a chance. See, if I go ahead and I don't act like these are an issue at all, then we'll have the crankshaft ready to accept pistons and rods. And then I'll open up the rod hone and we'll check the bushings. And if they're good, then see you later. We're gonna have to torque them down and put the bearings in and check for clearance, make sure that's good. And then we're gonna check for clearance on the rod, on the bushings. But if the bushings do need done, then we're gonna be boring them. It's gonna be a whole other point. That's where this cylinder head's finally gonna come off the table and be maybe put together as a tool. This is supposed to be a tool. We'll see. Let's hope we, I mean, eventually we're gonna have to do it, so we might as well get it over with. So if I'm gonna have to do it, it just goes, it'd be perfect right here. Wouldn't it be nice to have an engine ready to accept the connecting rods that we're boring bushings in for the first time? Have the engine block ready to accept them and nothing else anywhere in the shop. I've got the whole steel table set up for rod bushing, you know, stuff. Because also if we're gonna do rod bushings, we're gonna drill holes in them. We're gonna put oil holes in them too. And then, you know, from that point, if we're working the rods that much, maybe we just need to go ahead and at least weight match them. You know, make them all weigh the freaking same, might as well. It does not look like any of the bushings have spun. But once again, we're not even looking at that yet. I mean, we have everything here to change those bushings. We can do those bushings. We can do them. I just want to be better at them. So that's why I mean, Cody's engine's running. As of right now, it's still good, and it's all good. You know, anything can happen. But we honed all those bushings too. And we went ahead and honed them because that's the first engine that we ever did our own bushings on. Like start to finish. I mean, I've been putting bushings in for a while, but I've been taking them somewhere to have them honed. Well, now we've got this little guy sitting over here undercover, and yeah. Which I don't like cutting. The amount that needs cut out of that bushing is ridiculous. It's a lot. And I think it's too easy to get the connecting rod sideways and not hone them straight. You know, I'm cutting 30 thousandths out and it's got to be straight. It's nothing like this. See, this, you like a boring bar, right? Most people would say, you know, if you're cutting 20 out or 30 out, they would do a boring bar at like 25 and then use this machine for the last 5 thousandths, which, you know, I'm cutting 10 and 20 out. 20 at the most is what I'm cutting out, and I'm just going to follow the hole. I think when we cut 30 out before we even get to size, and with the bushings, how important they are to be square, I think the rod hone is not good enough for a boring bushing. I don't believe it's good enough. So I want to be able to use the guide and seat machine, which I think we can do it. We're going to use the guide and seat machine to cut the bushings. Well, that's for another day. For now, let's just worry about getting this crankshaft and camshaft in and getting the cylinder heads. I might just shoot for cylinder heads completely done because, yeah. So tomorrow we'll probably be surfacing. Well, finish lapping. You won't see none of that probably. But we'll be surfacing the heads and the exhaust manifold side and the exhaust manifolds as well. We're going to surface all that. And then probably get back over and get the heads assembled and get them ready to put on the truck, resting here waiting for when the engine gets set in, then we can put the heads right on directly. Yeah, there's our schedule. That's it for today. Well, holy crap, look, it's starting. Boom. We are going to be doing, it sounds like a whole bunch more of these. This is something like a 3810 or, I don't really know. I mean, we're just gonna have to learn on this stuff. But right now we're gonna go for a surface and clean. And I mean, the head looks, no, it ain't square on that side, which means I can still fixture it up and cut the exhaust side too. He said it wasn't really an issue on the exhaust side, but it's milkshakey. So everybody throw in your ideas. We'll start with surfacing this. He's gonna do a head gasket on it. And as of right now, hope it's not O-rings and a liner. But first thing to start would be the deck. So we'll get this deck cleaned up, get it surfaced for him. This will be the first 6-cylinder straight head. We haven't even done a Cummins on that yet. So this will be the first long straight 6-cylinder head that we're gonna do. Let's get it on. All right, we got our first tractor John Deere head is wrapped up and ready to go. I had to figure out how we were going to how we're going to fixture it to surface it, and I still need to tweak a little bit to come up with a better way. Because when I use all my fixtures over there, I do not use the risers on the bottom. And in order to use all of this stuff, I have to put the risers under the table. So my fixtures will have the table sit directly on the bottom and the fixtures take up the space. So, you know, we might have to do a little bit of adjusting on our procedure. I'm not sure yet which way that's gonna go, but this worked freaking great. This worked really good. So, you know, one would say, why don't I just use this stuff for the 6 liters? And I could, maybe I should. I don't really care, but the fixtures are fast. Even that little fixture there for exhaust manifolds, yeah, they're just, it's golden. They're fast as the son of a gun. Once that table is mounted on the bottom down there, then it's all quick. So I'll probably go ahead and take it apart. Hell, I put 4 bolts in there going into the risers here. Then I got bolts there going into the T-slots. I mean, it's pretty freaking solid. When I used to use it a lot right here, there's a plate that goes in between there from here. And granted, I've got it the wrong way, but there's a plate that goes in between here. And many times I've surfaced with 1 bolt holding this down. 1 bolt right in there, going into a plate, holding it down, and that's good. You can tilt it, and yeah. So now I'm gonna kind of clean up a little bit and get set up to go back to heads, because I've got these all lapped in. These are done. These are ready to go. And we're gonna surface the exhaust side and the deck side on both of these. I need to go through and double check the lap on these and see how good those are. And I'll do that while that one is being worked on the servicer. Hit the button, servicer's doing its thing, then I come over here and do this. But I got a whole bunch of work to get that set up first, so let's do that first. There you go, see, that didn't take too long. And I just set that head on there, put the bolts in it, level the table up, good to go. That's pretty freaking fast. And then I got the exhaust manifold one. And then that other one in the front is to surface the exhaust side of the cylinder head. That holds the intake side up in the air. Holds this side up, so it doesn't touch the bottom, and you can surface the exhaust. That's what that one's for. So all 3 of those, we're gonna be using that one, and this one, obviously.